figure you guys do the signage in-house.
These?
Oh, these here.
Kim does.
I didn't even think about it.
Wishful
Did this
thinking.
paperwork change from,
Going to call the meeting to order, and good evening and welcome to our August 3rd, 2026 meeting of the Tupelo Planning Committee. If you will, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. At this time, I'd ask you to please rise for the invocation given by Patty Thompson and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Scott Davis.
Would you please bow? Father God, thank you so much for this opportunity to come together tonight, to be free in a country where we can voice our opinions and be respectful of each other's opinions. Thank you, God, for all of the wonderful things and blessings that this community has given to us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Face the flag, attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. The Tupelo Planning Committee is a volunteer group appointed by the mayor and the city council. We do not receive compensation. We do this as a community service. The committee spends a lot of time and our own funds studying, researching the application, and visiting sites on our agenda each month. We ask that you remember that we do not take our positions lightly. On any application, our decisions are based on facts as they are presented and with regard to the regulations set forth in the city code. The planning committee may impose conditions or approvals on a request as it deems necessary to mitigate potential hazards or problems to bring non-conformity into compliance to the extent protected the rights of the interest in nearby property owners and the general public. At this time, I'd like the staff and committee members to introduce themselves, starting to my right.
Tanner Newman, Director of Development Services.
Victor Fleitas.
Mark Williams.
Leslie Mart?
Lindsay Leak.
Patty Thompson.
Scott Davis.
Kim Rushing.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to review the minutes of our last meeting, which was June 1st of 2026. I know these minutes went out in our packets. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept them as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Scott. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, the minutes have been approved. Report of last city council actions. Mr. Newman, do you have anything to report on city council's actions from our last meeting?
No, sir, not this time.
All right, thank you. We're now ready to start our agenda. There are 5 items on our agenda tonight. As we work through these items, if you're here in order to comment on application, please, when you are asked, move to the podium, speak into the microphone, and state your name and address before offering a comment. I do not believe we have any old business for tonight. Is that correct?
We do not. It's all new business, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, so new business. Our first new business item is Flex 26-03, 205 Commerce Street, parcel 089L-32-013-00. This is a request by Flexible Use to allow established daycare, Kids World Daycare of Tupelo, to occupy the space currently occupied by the Tupelo Academy of Cosmetology. Mr. Newman, have the surrounding properties owners been notified?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Were there any responses?
I do not believe we've received any, but I do anticipate we'll have a few here tonight.
Okay, thank you. Will the applicant or representative please come to the podium, state your name, address, and present your request to the committee?
My name is Clint Martin. I'm an attorney, and I'm here on behalf of Chris Jones and his partner with this particular application. There are also some more parties here, but I'll be honest with you, I just met them, so forgive me.
If you'll please sign in as well on that sheet.
Absolutely. Did you need to know my address as well? I believe you said that. 5941 West Wind Drive, Tupelo, 38801.
Thank you.
I believe this application was entered earlier, and it has some supporting documents. Forgive me, this is the first, I'm used to a courtroom, but I'm not used to a boardroom.
Yeah,
So,
we received the complete package and we've had an opportunity to review.
Is there, the way I understand this, there were two major questions. One was the traffic flow, if I'm not incorrect. I do have a traffic plan. Again, I would ask the board members if they have that particular traffic plan and if there's any questions about it. One of the concerns is having, obviously, safety, but I believe the children, where this particular area is at, there's a large road, obviously, out in front of it. I believe that's Commerce, if I'm not mistaken. And what I have spoken with the parties about is making sure that no kids are to walk across that street. I have somebody here that could speak on that in particulars, but that will be one of the rules. The other, as you can see from the map, the way they've got this designed is they'll keep traffic off of Main Street. In particular, what I'm looking at, if everybody has,
Yeah, we have that.
okay. Yeah, the way I understand this is that, the cars, as they flow in and out, will have a very nice uniform way to flow in and out without interfering with each other. And there's a lot of experience. I always tell you guys, back over here, a lot more experience than I have. I'm just an old lawyer, but back over here, some of them have run this particular kind of business. They're familiar with how to handle the drop-off, the exit and entry with respect to the children. If there are any particular questions, I would refer to them on that, but I know that was one of the questions that the committee had. The other was with respect to the fire marshal, and I have been assured that there's been communication with the fire marshal. I know there's going to be some changes inside of, if this goes through, there's going to be some changes inside of the building itself to allow for better classrooms and flow for the children inside of the building. So the fire marshal would probably come in after that, but they have been assured that that building is up to fire code.
Okay.
Those are the two major issues I was told about. If there are any more, I'll be glad to help facilitate and call anybody that may help you guys. I just want to be a help between
Yeah,
you
and we-
and these parties.
And we certainly appreciate that. Does any of the committee members have any questions for Mr. Martin? All right. Floor recognizes Ben Logan, City Attorney.
Good evening, how are you? Just a couple of questions.
Ben, could you push your mic down?
I have just a couple of questions on, I'm sorry, I got this full packet a little late today, has to come. On the, what's the maximum number of children that you can serve there?
Right now, I believe they have 89 at the current facility, but they're licensed up to 129, the way I understand it.
And as I understand it, you have a child to caregiver ratio,
Can somebody give me the exact
depending on the
ratio?
ages of the child.
Do you
Yeah,
mind?
you'll need to please come up so we can make sure we capture the comments. And again, if you would, state your name and address, and we'd need you to sign in.
Okay. Melissa Bell, 1279 County Road 87, New Albany.
Ms. Bell, are you an owner? in-
I am the owner of Kids World, yes.
All right, can you speak to the child employee ratio?
Child employee ratio, that's all set by the state of Mississippi. Different ages have different, number of teachers and kids that we have. The new building, if we do it the way it's designed, it could be up to 150 kids. I will never get to that point, just for the simple fact, you don't want 150 kids, you know. That's a lot of kids in one building. But right now, I have had up to 115 kids at my Kids World Daycare on Jackson Street. Just for example, the baby room is 5 to 1, 5 kids to 1 teacher. 1-year-old room is 9 kids to 1 teacher. 2s is 12 to 1. So I have probably a 400-page guideline of state laws that I have to go by the state of Mississippi.
And I understand that. I guess I'm just getting it. The kids are not gonna be driving themselves, and I think y'all have a floor plan or a throughput plan for picking up and
Yes,
and
sir.
things of that nature. But as far as the number of adults that'll be working there during the day, that will have to drive to work or carpool or something, how many cars can we expect? And where will they be parked?
Depending on how many, I mean, you know, like kids, about 15 cars.
12 to 15.
And there's enough parking spaces at the location?
There's enough parking spots at the location, and from my understanding, we have a written agreement with Huntington that we can use the parking lot right there in front of us also for parking.
Okay.
That's a written agreement with the owners, right?
Now, I know it'll, in understanding the health department guidelines, there has to be so many adults per child. And it depends on the age of the child. You know, if you have 10 to 12-year-olds, it takes 1 per 20-something, something
25.
like that. And as far as, do you know what the parking is that is in front of the building right now?
I looked at it today. You could possibly get from the actual line of the property, you could probably line up 15 cars in the front of the building from one side to another. And that's just my estimate.
How many, and I guess, what would be your maximum number of adults there during the daytime?
Depends on the number. I mean, 50, we're looking at probably 15.
15 people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is there a requirement for outdoor play areas for daycares of this size?
Yes, sir.
And where will that outdoor play area be located?
The design that I have drawn up right now is, the grass area on the right side would be fenced in with a chain link fence, with the black vinyl. And then the parking lot side on the left side of the building. Not the parking lot, the concrete side on the side of the building. By, the side of Barbecue by Jim's.
Or any,
That would be fenced in.
and is there are there similar type requirements for the space needed for an outdoor play area depending on the amount of kids that you have?
It is, and within my drawing,
You don't.
it's only, you have to have 33% of roll for the outside area. So it just depends on what my roll would be. 33% would have to be outside space.
And you feel like you have that?
Yes, sir.
Did you take into account hazard areas like the railroad that's behind there? I don't know.
There would be nothing on the back side of the property.
Okay. And I've dealt with smaller daycares and, you know, am familiar with the different regulations, not chapter and verse by any means. But you, would adhere to those regulations that the state imposes on all.
I've already had my state lady come and look at everything also, talk to her about the design. The first thing that I did was make sure that I could do playground areas outside. That was the biggest concern that I had.
And you say you're gonna be using some parking from across the street, or you could, with the, and will you be open, would there be any conflict with concerts or anything, either late at night during the week or on the weekends?
I don't foresee any.
And I know that there was some information that you would have, you know, at times that folks would be maybe at the Coliseum on a date and drop off their kids there. Is that contemplated?
It is. It's something that we've thrown around the idea too. Kind of like a parents' night out type thing that would kind of help the arena.
And subject to the department telling me about whether Commerce Street is a major thoroughfare or if that sort of parking across the street, busy street there, would be allowed when we get to that point. Mr. Newman,
You may discuss it.
well, if we can now.
Okay. No, I mean, from a parking standpoint, that agreement is between y'all and the arena. As far as whether we wouldn't use that parking across the street as the actual numbers when calculating the required parking because of the type of street that it is. So from a zoning standpoint, those numbers would not be considered.
All right, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the committee members?
Ms. Bell, on the traffic pattern, when you drop off and pick up, will that be in front of the building?
On the front, yes, sir.
On the front, okay. During peak hours, do you think it would back up into Commerce Street?
I mean, I'm at Jackson Street in Lampkin right now, so you can imagine how little space that I have for what I've got, the kids that I have right now. My kids' drop off and pick up is staggered so much. We start at 6 o'clock or 6:30 in the morning and we cut off at 9. So at any given point, for the most part, we have maybe 6 cars lined up in 2 lines. So 3 on each side that's dropping off kids in the mornings at any given point. And that's also in the afternoons. One of our biggest things, because of where we're at right now, you're basically drop off and go, pick up and go. If you have to talk to someone, I need you to park, because that line is, we've got to keep it moving. So my parents, I've been at Kids World since 2018, I bought it in 24. So that's always been a contingency of mine, like you've got to get your kids and go, because I don't, there's not a lot of area. So as far as the flow, we've never had a problem. And we redesigned to where we're actually not using Jackson Street to exit anymore also. So it's been real good.
I have a question,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
You're the owner of Kids World.
Yes,
Who is
ma'am.
Michael Walden,
He's the building owner,
the current building owner?
yes,
Okay. So you're just leasing the building?
I am.
Okay. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Am I correct that the building on Lumpkin and Jackson has covered drop-off?
Yes,
So you do not have that here at this current location. Is it the intent in the future to add a canopy out front?
not as of right now, no.
So it'll be uncovered drop-off.
Which is most, I think childcare is in below, most of them.
What about security for these play areas? Because you mentioned several times a drawing that shows the site. We have, we don't have that.
I can get you one, which is just on my
Well, what we do have is we do have a schematic showing the property boundary.
Playground would be on this side.
And you said the playground would be towards the rear and to the right on the concrete. Have you looked at that and studied it enough to know that you have the right easement to be able to put in a playground on the back of the property?
It would not be on the back side of the playground. I mean, on the back side of the property. It would be to the
all on
right
the
and to the
side.
left of the, on both sides, within the property lines.
That's what I'm missing, okay. Right by the river.
And how will you be handling the security of those play areas?
The same way we lock our gates. Honestly, you can't really lock a gate. You just have to have just a fence area where, basically where nobody can see in is what we like to do.
Okay.
I don't know, I think we talked when we were at the zoning place, the office the other day when we had a meeting, and we talked about, the chain link fence with the black vinyl in the front.
I take it the teachers that have students at recess will be out there with
Oh,
them.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And it will be on the north and the south side
Mm-hmm.
of the building, fenced in with black fencing.
I mean, it's just our normal, teachers are outside at all times.
My youngest son is turning 31 in September, so it's been a while since childcare has been on my plate. I take it that the traffic plan or what the expectations are for the parents will be set out in some booklet or papers
Yes,
that you
yes.
provide to the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that will include instructions to the parents when dropping off or picking up the children to not use the space across Commerce Street.
Yes, sir. We would put that in
Presumably-
our handbook, and our handbooks are, submitted to the state to be on record.
And that's something that you could submit to the city planning department as well to make sure that,
Yes, yes.
as a sign of good faith, that that this issue of child safety on Commerce is.
Yes.
Would that
Thank
handbook
you.
also have suggested literature that if a parent was to violate that on multiple occasions, what would be the consequences of that?
As far as that goes, as far as the safety part, it could be, just suspension of coming to the daycare if they could not abide by that rule. We have several things, that expels a child from childcare.
So you'd make that part of the code of conduct for the parents?
Yes.
Any other questions by committee members?
Not to the applicant.
All right, so you can be seated now. Thank you.
Okay.
We're now going to open this for a public portion of the hearing for this application. We would ask if you're here to speak for or against, you please come to the podium. Again, state your name, address, and sign our sheet, and limit any comments you have to no more than 5 minutes. So anybody here to speak for or against?
I'm not really for or against.
And Clint, you can be
Sir,
seated
you can
now.
have a seat. Thank you.
My name is Clay Knight, and I have a property that's over on Spring Street. And it looks like whoever drew this, so it's in the ditch. So we're not gonna say we're fine. I serve alcohol there, so it's fine. I would say that we're right. I don't think this will affect it, but you can look at the circle that they've drawn, and it looks like somebody just drew a quick circle, so I'm sure I'm 500 feet from there, from the back of that building.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I don't have a problem with them if they don't have a problem with me.
Mr. Knight, let me make sure I've got your concerns. You're talking about your spot there next to Jim and Rachel's office. On occasions, you have parties or other events there where alcohol is served in conformity with all city
Wedding
and state
receptions, baby
regulations.
showers, weddings, parties, birthday parties, anniversaries.
And you
And
want
there
to
is alcohol.
You want to make sure it's not affected by this placement,
Right.
all right? Mr.
And I do
Newman,
have future,
could you speak to that, Mr.
Sure.
Newman?
So because you are an existing establishment, basically your rights would come first, so they would not affect your ability to exist.
and I just wanted to make sure of that from the letter, and I didn't have a problem with the daycare as long as they don't have. Because I looked at this picture and I said, well, I'm 2 streets away from them. So,
You do fall within that notification range, but and if the daycare would like to speak on it, I'm sure it would be nice to have on the record your position, but just know that from a legal standpoint,
I'm safe.
you're safe.
And what's Mr. Knight zoned as?
he's mixed use downtown, but he's gonna be in the, in
It's the
judicial.
downtown, it's the judicial district.
It is the judicial district, and then the daycare would be in the, Coliseum sub-district.
But you can have 100 feet in the downtown area.
That's right.
So you-
We're gonna say it hits the ditch.
There you go.
100 feet will get you.
It don't get far past the tracks.
Anybody else here to speak for or against?
Just for the record, nobody is against, nobody has any objection to his business. Tanner just asked for somebody on the record, I just want to say that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, as there's no other people here to speak, we're gonna close the public portion of this, and we're now open for a full committee discussion.
I have a couple of questions. So he raised a great point about the liquor sales. So what is the distance from the daycare center for liquor sales? Because the depot now is sitting right within this yellow line. And then, of course, we've got the stables back there, and then whatever potential might happen to where that hotel, that building was. So, what is the distance?
I believe that in the mixed-use downtown overlay, that's 100 feet.
And again, anything that's existing, they're fine, but to Mr. Logan's point, any new establishments, it would be 100 feet distance requirement.
So the depot is existing, so not applicable to it. The Coliseum,
And this drawing you're looking at, is a 500-foot buffer, so it's not gonna adequately show 100 feet.
The only businesses that would be impacted would be the next door neighbor to the south and future uses of any of those properties that come in later and want to sell beer, liquor, whatever.
It won't affect the grill, it won't affect Park Heights, it won't affect the depot, the stables. or
The
any
arena.
other Amsterdam or any of the other places.
The barbecue by Jim's would be within that 100 feet. If somebody were to buy it for a use that involves beer,
Is there a waiver process there?
there is.
So there could be a potential for, a future restaurant to seek out a waiver from you for that barbecue by Jim's location.
is that something that we can get them to sign now? As part of this approval, that there will not be any issues with present or future alcohol sales? In particular for that property next door, because we've got the depot that's right there, so, it's kind of fluctuates.
Let me just ask on the record, what would be your position on that topic? Would you have an objection to an establishment located
No,
there?
right now, I'm right beside a gas station that sells it, so, there's really no difference, so in my opinion.
Yeah, just remind, we need everybody to come to the podium. You don't have to there, but she did, the question was, would they be opposed to anybody having alcohol that's grandfathered in, and her response was no, they would not.
I think just making that a part of the minutes would be
Yep,
sufficient.
either new or existing, there will be no issue, and she's willing to sign a waiver to that effect.
Yep, and especially specifically for that barbecue by Jim's location, because that's
That's the one.
the one.
Yeah.
That might.
Well, and we don't know what's gonna happen with the old police station property either.
True. Thank you
Alright.
for your cooperation.
Not just what's there now and the uses that they've had over the years. It may look totally different in 10 years, and you can't limit the other property owners to coming to the nuisance area.
And then I had a question about landscaping. What requirements, because currently the building is one occupancy, and now we're gonna have a change of occupancy. Will they be required to add some greenery, some
Yeah.
landscaping, something
So-
to the front of that building?
The landscaping would have to be brought up to code, but also any fencing would have to abide by the downtown, design guidelines, and so that would go before the downtown overlay design committee. And so I don't know, I'm not gonna speak for them as far as the chain link fence goes, but we just have to work with them on what type of fencing, for that location.
And landscaping.
And landscaping.
Okay, those were my questions.
Any other questions from the committee members? Tanner, does the city have a position on this?
So when we're looking at flexible uses, Mr. Chairman, we have three questions. Is the proposal in harmony with the area, not substantially injurious to the value of the properties in the general vicinity? We found this request for changing is a change in use of an existing building. It's not new construction. There may be some interior and exterior modifications to meet the health department's requirements, but these changes are not expected to have a major impact on the general appearance of the property. So we have no objection there. Second is, does it conform with any and all special requirements? This project is subject to the state health department standards and city parking and access requirements, which we've touched on. And then third, will it adversely affect the health and safety of the public? The questions here, the concerns here are regarding traffic, and we do ask that you abide by the traffic flow plan that you've provided. I know there's been some discussion about possibly a one-year contingency approval to review the traffic issue. The major concern is children crossing the street. We just can't have that. So all three of our specific questions that we use to review for a flexible use, we found no issues there. And so this is going to be strictly up to the committee.
Does the committee have any further questions for Mr. Newman? All right, that closes us out, so need to see what the committee's position is on this, to have a motion to approve or deny this request.
I make a motion that we approve with the stipulation that we review the traffic in a year.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. I believe we've heard it. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we do have a second. All those in favor, please signal that by raising your right hand. Opposed? Looks like that has been approved. So, Mr. Newman, could you please advise the applicant and interested parties about their options?
Beginning tomorrow, anyone objecting to this decision will have 3 days to file an appeal to the city council. That appeal could be made with the Department of Development Services. Otherwise, the applicant may proceed with their any construction that needs to take place, work with the Downtown Overlay Committee on your fencing, and the health department on their requirements. Also, as Mr. Martin mentioned earlier, make sure you get with the fire marshal and get any of those requests or requirements shored up. All right?
All right, thank you.
Welcome to downtown.
Yeah, the next item up for business tonight is Flex 26-04, parcel 072N-09-046-01 off McCullough Boulevard. This is a request by Flexible Use to allow a 240-unit apartment complex previously approved by the city in 2020. Mr. Newman, have the surrounding property owners been notified? And if so, work with the responses.
Yes, sir, and we have not received any responses on this one.
Okay, will the applicant or representative please come to the podium, state your name, address, sign in on the sheet there, and make your request to the committee, please.
I'm Bruce Patel. Address is 2749 Bay Hill Woods Cove, Collierville, Tennessee. But I still identify as a Tupelonian, so.
Thank you. Go ahead and present your case, please, sir.
So I'm gonna bring Mr. Harvey Matheny, he's my engineer.
Okay.
So when you get into the technical questions, I'm gonna point right at him.
All right.
So we've got the land on the intersection of McCullough and 22. If you're familiar with that, what this project is. So what we're looking at doing there is, it's a total of 240 units. But this isn't a matchbox, like, no offense to the existing apartment complexes, but this is more like a resort style complex with three main components. One of the components is, so there's 4 buildings, not including the clubhouse, okay? So building 1 has 60 units in it. Now that building, I want to put up fully furnished, nice high-end stuff. That would be strictly for Toyota, okay? And it'll be oriented towards the Japanese folks that come in from Japan for Toyota, Bishuku in Blue Springs. As it stands right now, I am their, for many years now, I guess, their preferred housing vendor because of the hotels that I have in the market. For those of you who don't know, some new faces, a lot of familiar faces. We've got the Holiday Inn, the Holiday Inn Express, the Candlewood, the Home 2, the True, the Confident, and a few more surprises in the pipeline that will probably be coming across your desk here soon. So through the years of owning those, we've maintained amazing relations with Toyota, and even when the president comes from Japan, he stays with us. So I had the opportunity to sit down and see where the gaps are. What are we falling behind on? And frankly, right now it's apartments, right? Call it multifamily, apartments, condos, call it whatever you will. To me, it's the same thing, right? So I'm not going to put a fancy spin on that part of it. But what we are wanting to do is fill some gaps that you can easily identify in this market. So the first gap is 60 units fully furnished for Toyota. And the reason it makes sense is because when most of the folks that come from Japan for the Toyota plant, they come on a 6-month visa. That means they can be on US soil for 6 months, and they got a ping pong right back. Then the next batch comes in. So it doesn't make sense to go rent a traditional apartment and furnish it. It's not feasible, right? And I think everyone knows what impact Toyota's had on our local economies, and surrounding towns like New Albany and so on and so on. So that's building 1. Now building 2, I also own Landmark Lifestyles. That's the senior living. We've won some national awards on that one for taking care of everybody and all those good things. Checked all the boxes and then some from when I presented it right here several years ago. So, I'm running around 97% occupancy. So on the active adult side, now what active adults in the industry is defined as, that means you can drive, you can take care of yourself, you can go to Walmart, go to church, do whatever you want to do, and you're not dependent on anybody else. So with that said, because I know what my backlogs look like, because we have to turn people away that are trying to come and join us at Landmark Lifestyles. But when you're at 97%, that means you have a 3% vacancy. And that usually means somebody's left us. That's the only time we have a turnover in a room, is when somebody passes away, because once people are in, it's a community. It's a sense of belonging. People don't want to leave, and they become family, right? Extended family as well. So building 2, got 52 units in there with an elevator. In that building, it's only for active adults. So you're not going to come in there with your 2-year-old kid. God bless kids. The daycare folks have gone. So they don't want that, right? So this building has an elevator in there, right? So they have a peace of mind, and it's tranquil. It's not constant noise. After 10 o'clock, everyone's kind of in bed. So that's the purpose of building 2. Then the remaining buildings 3 and 4, you got 128 units. So if you tally up all 3 of the components, which is 4 buildings, you'll come up with 240 units is what you come up with. Now, in this facility, we do have resort-like amenities, simply because I'm behind it. I can't do anything less. So, we've got a nice kids play area, like a really, really, really nice swimming pool area with sun decks and all that. Some of the illustrations are in the packages that I passed out earlier. And let me think, what else is there? I mean, there's nothing like this in this market, period. If there's anything close, it might be in Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. It's one of the newer, higher-end developments. Other than that, there's nothing you can compare it to here, because, like I said, I've toured all of the ones around here, and to me, it's a 2 for $20 special at Lowe's, everything is. You get 2 doorknobs for $20, you got 2 lights for $20, and that's what they put in. There's no, that's HUD housing. I'm not interested in HUD housing. I'm not here for that. Everything got built over the last 18 years in this market, I still own it. Everything, right? And I maintain my assets. I'm not here to burn and turn. You know, that means build it and flip it. That's what's happened to the mill at McCullough. That other one behind the Blue Canoe, what's that one called?
I'm not sure, but I know what you're talking about.
Do you know that one?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, Mr. Patel, so what you're saying, what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, this is, you don't view this as a traditional apartment complex?
No, I would not, because of it's a community that we're developing here.
Mixed use, would you consider it a mixed-use community?
Well, mixed use, I would consider it with the exception of retail. And retail won't make sense in this development.
Restaurants?
Restaurants won't make sense here either. Because it's hard to compete with, downtown, and then you
Sure.
got Gloucester.
So how would you say how would you say it differs from the mill, just from a conceptual standpoint?
From a conceptual, the build quality is day and night difference. And all the amenities that we have, nobody has them. There's zero competition for what I'm talking about. Everything's here in the level that I'm over here. Like, we won't be competing with anybody. We'll be in our own space.
Thank you.
That's what we're looking for.
And we're gonna open it up now for questions by committee members, and I'll start. So, Mr. Patel, one, appreciate your interest to continue to help our city. On the 60 units that would be dedicated to Toyota, would that be a lease between you and Toyota, or those that come over for a 3 to 6 months?
So, Toyota corporate, they rent the rooms directly, Toyota Boshuku,
Okay.
and they ACH your payments to you. They do that with some houses around here too. I've had some rental. I think I still got some rental homes here too, and they just best customers you can ask for, best tenants. They take the shoes off before they come in the house. If they leave a year later, it looks like nobody lived in there. I mean, it's just the best tenants.
And on your Tupelo Senior, your building number 2, the 52, I'm looking at page 7 of what you presented tonight. And first, my compliments to Landmark. I had an opportunity, my mother-in-law's age, and I've had an opportunity to look at your facility. It's very nice. But would anybody that you would anticipate that would be in that building too, would they be on assisted living where nurse providers, the like, come into that, or you wouldn't anticipate that?
No, you can't do that. You have to have a state license to do that. So the Landmark Lifestyles is in that space,
Yeah.
which also requires a CON, a certificate of need, from the Mississippi Health Department. But if you look at have you seen the cottages that I built there? So you don't need a CON for that. That's just basically homes, but you age restrict it at a minimum age to be in there, and that gets rid of the crowd that you don't want to create that sense of community for the seniors. That's what it does, yeah. That's how you police that part of it.
All right, thank you. Other questions by committee members?
I have a question, sir, if I may. The packet that you handed to us today, is this the first time this has been presented publicly or to the city, this committee?
Yeah, because actually I thought the zoning was already approved on this, and then speaking with my engineers, I was like, we gotta come here and do this, and I was like, why are we having to change the zonings if we already had it approved in 2020, I think it was, right?
Yes, sir. I don't believe it's a zoning issue. I think it's the lapse of time.
Yeah.
And not having taken action on the earlier action
Yeah.
caused it to expire by its own effect. So since that time, there have been changes to the city's overall code, which affect how the project may be viewed by the administration. So that's how we find ourselves here. But in terms of this packet that you're presenting here today, this information, this would be new to the city, it would be new to us.
That's fair.
Okay. Is the plan that you intend to move forward with identical to the plans that were submitted in 2020?
The plans are the same except for building number 2. I put an elevator in for seniors.
Because you want to implement the 55+
because they can't take the
living
stairs.
units,
Yeah.
which you gotta
The
have.
stairs will do a number. This would be too much. Yeah.
gotta have both. All right, so that's one modification to the original plan that you found beneficial to you.
Mhm. Yeah.
And as a selling point
Yeah.
potentially to the city.
So, Mr. Patel, with that said, and as Victor pointed out, the master plan of the city has changed since the original 2020. And I know you guys have been working with the Department of Services, so no one from the Department of Services advised you or any of your representative, because I think you may have been busy doing some other things, and which I understand, that the city's master plan and large apartment complex are no longer what the city is seeking?
I was not told. I mean, these blueprints are done. Blueprints are done. It's 1.5 million plus in blueprints.
Okay. Any other questions?
So quick, you found it from a business standpoint necessary, advisable, and feasible to have not moved on this project from 2020 to 2026.
So-
For reasons particular to you,
No,
I don't need to
sure.
know.
No, I'll be glad to share. So the occupancies have actually the rates, the feasibility of things, right? Because during COVID, the world was a wreck, right?
Understood.
Tariffs, everything, right? Just not tariffs, delays, everything coming in. We were dealing with all kinds of stuff, right? So from 2020 to 2026, as of, let's say mid this year, rents have gone up to 25%, which is 3%. That's organic growth times 4% keeps going up. It's gone up to 25%. That's what, when you do your rate shops in 2020, sorry, I'm talking hotel lingo. When you call the area apartments and ask them, hey, do you have an apartment? If so, what are your rents for a 1, 2, 3 bedroom? And they tell you. So when you do a side-by-side comparison, they've gone up 25%. See, my build cost all in is $56 million. To put that in perspective, I seriously doubt any of the existing ones, even with, if you do apple-to-apple comparison in terms of number of units, I'm pretty sure everybody was 20 million or below. So mine at 56 million, the feasibility has to be stronger because I have to meet that rent point. And then also I was kind of halfway around the world building a resort in Dubai, and then the war broke out. So we're still building there, but I'm here. I'm not dodging missiles and drones, thank God.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah. So I was a little busy there, and I'm still very active here. Olive Branch, South Haven, here, the Gulf Coast as well. So mostly Mississippi, with the exception of 3.
A couple points, Mr. Chairman. I know this originally was approved, and excuse me for having to step out, so forgive me if I'm repeating anything that was discussed while I was gone. This originally was approved under a separate development code. There's been amendments to the development code since 2020. One of those being the length of multifamily buildings. Has that come up?
No, we did talk about the change in the code since the original application, and I did ask Mr. Patel, had the city advised him there had been changes, which his response was he was not aware of any.
Okay. I know we spoke with Barry at some point, Patrick and I did about it. The other is the MDOT second access point. Can we talk on that topic for a moment? Does everyone know what I'm referring to?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to defer to him because he's a lot smarter than I am.
And again, if you wouldn't mind stating your name and address, please.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Harvey Matheny. I'm with Pickering Firm. We're the civil engineer on the project. 6363 Poplar Avenue, Memphis 38119.
Thank you, sir.
And to the point about access, I believe that's another change in your code is for this project needs 2 points of access. And the one point of access, the main access point is being put in for the Dobbs project, which was approved a few months ago by this body. Just a quick aside, that property where Dobbs is going to build their facility, back in 2020, that area was proposed to be out parcels, probably 8 or 9 out parcels, which would be fast casual, fast food, retail, various things. So, we did trip generations for the full build out, the 240 units plus the restaurants and retail. And subsequently, we've updated that because when Dobbs came in, MDOT wanted an updated study for their project, which we did. And they have the approval to build that access drive and the required improvements along Montgomery or McCullough to accommodate that, which are very similar, almost identical to what was approved by MDOT back in 2020 for the mixed-use project. So fast forward to now with your new code, we will need the main access point, which is going to be built by the Dobbs development. But we have talked to MDOT, we've talked to the city as well, but we've talked to MDOT about a secondary access point, which would be a gated entry point for emergency only, which the city staff, I don't want to speak for other people, but the staff has agreed for that. That would satisfy the code.
Where,
So
and
what
where would
we
that,
would like to-
where would that be?
We would like to put that on the far south side of the property. We've had discussions with MDOT about that. It will need to go, we will have to have further discussions with them about that. Even though, we told them it would be gated,
Can you kind of pinpoint where on there?
it would be,
Taking part of the greenway of the dog park,
on the far edge of the property. Right.
is that right? Where the dog
I think
park
that's
is?
right. Yeah, I believe you're right, yes. I said south, it really, I guess it'd be south east.
Southwest, south.
So the drive that is on the, basically the property line for building 1 and building 2, that drive will just continue straight to McCullough? Is that kind of
Essentially,
what-
there would have to be some geometry there to make that work, but again, that would be a drive that would not be used on a daily basis. The only purpose for it being there is to satisfy the fire code
You see that?
requiring 2 points of egress. So if you had any issue with the main drive being blocked for whatever reason, there would be another way to get into the property, to the apartments.
Have you had conversation with MDOT
Do you
about
see
that?
that?
We have.
Do you have approval from?
We do not. They want us to, they're gonna wanna look at our traffic numbers again, even though they've dramatically reduced from what was approved in 2020. But they also might need to run it through, I forget what the name of the committee is called, but, rather than a staff level approval, a
Probably an
committee to
appeals
look at that,
board.
even though we've told them it would be, gated and not a regular point of entry, but I think they want
So
that.
this
to
would be an emergency access.
That's correct.
How long do you anticipate, given state government moving at the speed of molasses in winter, to have this approval, question 1? And the follow-up question then is, do you expect to turn dirt on this before you have that approval?
I don't believe we would. I think we need to have that approval. Yeah, I don't think we
Moving
could.
forward on this then is entirely contingent on getting the approval from MDOT.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Or coming up with another point of ingress egress that would satisfy the
That
city's
would
code.
satisfy the
Yes.
city, if it is available. So from a practical point of view, nothing can be done until that approval is received by MDOT, which we don't expect within the next 30 days.
I would guesstimate 30 days, but I really don't know their committee schedule.
Is there a possibility of routing it around this lake back here rather than having it affect the current site plan? You know, and coming off next to this motel?
Assuming those other property owners would be amenable to that, that's something we could.
You route it up to that red lot is what I was getting at.
That would be a good option.
What are you talking about, Tanner?
Instead of affecting the current site plan, as you were speaking about, Leslie, with the dog park, this sliver they own behind the lake, if you could route it that direction and tie it in to the motel.
Yeah, but could we even do that because of flood zones?
I would think on an emergency access, I'm not gonna speak yes or no, but I would suggest looking at the option. And then route it around the motel and then come out at that intersection.
How do you go around the motel? We can go around.
So you own this property here?
Yeah, it looks like.
Could we create an emergency access point that direction instead of
So
time?
this motel right here, right, that's the Super 8?
Right.
And that's the Chevron right there?
Correct. I'm just asking, is that an option?
He is my friend.
I would just think that would be an easier route,
He's also a Patel.
throwing out options.
But potentially, I mean, I haven't looked at that topography or drainage or anything else, but assuming that that is,
If it's wide enough, as far as going through there for emergency, he won't say no.
right.
Tanner, there's a lot of facts being presented tonight that was not available to us in our work session.
Sure.
A good amount of facts. And I know it's a public, and we can certainly entertain those speaking for and against, this project. But, is it not the right thing to do that we table this until our next meeting to get better information so we can make more of an informed decision?
That's certainly in the committee's prerogative to do so.
Well, let me ask this question, Mr. Newman, following up on his. Would it be beneficial to the city and in your estimation, the developer of this project, to allow a period of time, now that the developer's full attention is back on this project and the changes have taken place, to allow the two groups to confer, look for possible solutions that may work around the MDOT logjam, and come to some understandings in advance, so we can have a full presentation of everything with a little bit more information from the city and a little bit more certainty on the part of the developer. Would that be beneficial?
I think it would be, go ahead, Mr. Logan.
Before we get into a non-debatable motion to table,
It's not ripe yet, Ben.
okay.
I'm just
If you would
asking,
yield.
I'm just asking a question.
I was there when this concept came up before, and I believe there's been some changes in ownership to the entire site plan before. There was supposed to be highway commercial, coming off that interchange in the south, in the north part, coming off. Is
The
that
Dobbs
correct?
property, yeah, right.
Okay. Who owns that now?
Dobbs,
Pardon me?
the part that's carved out, Dobbs has it, and I think they're probably, I believe they're in permitting already with the city,
And
about to start.
what is their use
I think it's gonna be a showroom,
for
trucks,
trucks?
like, the front end of the truck, it will be a showroom. So the reason we didn't move forward, because we were trying to pre-lease all that, we had 0 bites on pre-leasing, so it'd be a suicide mission to go build it, you know?
And I believe that certain restrictive covenants were placed on that property, and given by you that you would not be in competition with,
That's right, yeah.
with that truck company, is
Yeah.
it Kenworth, what is?
Peterbilt.
Peterbilt.
Yeah.
Peterbilt Truck Company. And that, takes up a good amount of the site there.
That's already carved out of what's in front of you. And I don't plan on getting in the trucking business anytime soon.
But there would be, that shared entryway would also have the trucks and things like that going in.
It's from my understanding, it's a showroom where they sell trucks. So you'll have trucks, but not like Love's kind of trucks.
Truck traffic is very, very minimal, one or two a day,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
if that.
I think he did the traffic study for Dobbs too, is that right?
We did.
Okay.
What property are you talking about, Ben?
Right when you turn in on the left.
So if we're looking at this site plan here that shows, here's McCullough, right? Here's our development. And so you've got these 7 lots that are up here with a cul-de-sac.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. Flip your page around and you'll flip it to the back. No, the one, like.
Oh,
right-
this, that way.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what we approved that a few months ago.
Right, okay.
That was what was gonna be the retail.
That's
It
correct.
didn't work out,
Zero
so he
leases.
sold it to the trucking company.
Okay.
The retail would have been amazing if could have
Yes.
got momentum with tenants, but 0.
Yeah.
Most of the drawings for the, his project is from the 2020, approval.
Okay.
They just resubmitted mostly the same stuff.
Yeah.
And just as the site plan has changed through and I think there may have been 2 different site plans that were approved. The zoning ordinance, or at least the number of apartments that are allowed, pushes this into the flexible use category. Whereas before, you could have, but with some limits that I think we discussed tell us a little bit more about that. The number of units in a building and things, but you could still have multiple dormitories or layouts, however you want to call them. But that's changed to 99. That would be allowable on this property. The flexible use would be for the whole concept there. And it's changed from that standpoint in the law, and that's the first question we have to get over. Are we gonna allow more than 99? And what would be suitable or profitable for Mr. Patel? The other is the traffic. I don't know if it's much different, but I suspect that it is. You've got a lot of folks come in that way. The traffic count is pretty high as it is. And to add, I don't know if these folks are gonna have 2 cars, 1 car, whatever, how many people live in, but at least 243 cars. There are 243 residents. Well, maybe not. 243 units. If they just had 1 car, that adds them coming and going all day long in that traffic count. I totally agree that we need to bring this forward and put it together with a little bit more discussion.
And before we move on with that, wasn't there also, I did not pull the approval that we did from last time, but I thought that we had issue then with the length of the buildings. And then I think our code has changed even since then, so that the length of a building is even smaller than it was before. So what was submitted in 2020, we put restrictions on at that time, and this doesn't seem to reflect even those changes.
Let me say this too, just as a point of order, I guess. This is strictly the flexible use application for the use of the multifamily. The major site plan would have to also be approved, which we don't have. So
Right, this is,
it should be a 2-part approval. This would be for the use, and then there would also have to be a major site plan that would be approved, that would be, I'm assuming, submitted after the use was approved.
So if it's a flexible use, if we are looking at it from strictly approving a flexible use or not, would we not need to consider the traffic counts before we even
For
do
sure.
that? Because why would we say, oh, sure, you can do that if we're not going, if there's going to be issue with the amount of traffic?
No, I mean, you're spot on.
Okay, so we really need traffic counts. There's a lot more information, it seems like we need.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Lucy. I think, you know, in order to be fair, this is a public hearing, so we probably do need to hear from anybody that may be for or against, since it is a public hearing, but, any more questions for the applicant at this time?
I'd like to add a few things, if that's okay.
Of course.
So, when you're building a project like this, there's a break-even analysis in terms of, you know, residual payback operationally. So I even looked at, what if I make it 180 units? The numbers don't pencil. So where it becomes profitable after you service debt is when you cross that 200 mark. That's the reason you can't, like, there was a time when you could go in, you could go build 120 units, then it became 150, then it became 180. That's why when you see higher end apartment complexes coming in, the unit counts have to be there, otherwise you lose the feasibility of the project. You won't even get financing for the project. The numbers won't pencil from a pro forma stance, right? They
Yeah,
won't.
Bruce, at 200 units, what would be your debt service coverage ratio?
On this one, about 1.6, 1.7, around there, because of, yeah.
What does that mean?
Debt service for amount of all the units and what he's putting in, how much does he have to repay the debt service? And typically you want anything north of 125.
And then you move it to a HUD 232 loan, and that gives you a 40-year amortization.
Yeah.
So I think, Harvey wanted to just add a few things based on the comments that we heard.
Yes, sir.
just to speak to the traffic question, so in 2020, the traffic study we did was for 240 units and all of the 7 or 8 or 9 out parcels with retail, fast food, retail, et cetera. So those numbers were all submitted MDOT to approve the new drive, and that was approved by MDOT in 2020. So fast forward to earlier this year, MDOT wanted us to update the traffic study to reflect the Dobbs property development in lieu of the out parcels. So we did. The 240 units were still there, still in our study, because that was always assumed that they would eventually come back.
I want to add something as well. On the traffic study, the building that I want to do for Toyota, those guys all carpool. They don't all have cars. There's 4 people to a car, and that's how they get to the hotels and back. Because they work like crazy hours, but they work shifts, so they don't all have cars, because Toyota provides their cars. So when you see those, I think it's Priuses that they all get, 4 people in there, those guys are the ones that are going to Toyota.
That's good to know, but we didn't assume that in our calculations. We assumed that everybody would be driving per a normal apartment complex. So we did that and submitted all that to MDOT, and MDOT approved it again because the numbers dramatically went down when you get rid of all the retail and food and whatnot. So the traffic counts went down. MDOT reapproved the drive, which Dobbs is now building. So obviously we'll share all that information, but MDOT has approved the modified traffic study.
Okay.
I think that's answered my question.
Okay.
That modified or updated traffic study has not yet been provided to the city?
That's, unless it was provided as part of the Dobbs project, which I wasn't the lead on, so I don't know.
As far as from a traffic standpoint, it's black and white for us. The traffic study is not gonna make a difference in our position. You gotta have 2 entrances, 2 access points by the fire code, period.
Understood.
So we appreciate the traffic study, and that is relevant to the overall plan, but it's not gonna change our recommendation either way, because you just gotta have 2 access points for this type of development.
Yeah, so my thought was we were coming tonight for the flexible use approval, but to your point, we were still gonna have to come back and update our plan. The site plan for the apartment complex didn't change, or minimally, but we do need to add the secondary drive and things like that.
So I guess I would say the committee, if they were to table it as is the discussion right now, then we would need a list specifically of what you would be looking for when you review it at the next meeting. You know, what items are you looking for or need in order to consider it a full packet to review it at a later date?
So for the record, what does approval of a flexible use mean?
So in this case, you would be approving the flexible use for a multi-family development greater than, what's the number, 99? For this development. So you would be saying, we are in agreement that at this specific location, you can have more than 99 apartments in your development. Now, bring us a site plan that meets this, what we've approved. So if it's 240 units, bring us a site plan that is 240 units, that has 2 access points, and meets all the code requirements from fire to building to zoning.
Building length,
Correct.
green spaces?
Tree,
Yeah, landscaping.
It's a rewrite.
It is.
I have a question about 240 apartments. And I don't know if the city, I should know this because we talk about apartments all the time, but only 128 are traditional apartments. 60 will be the 6-month lease to Toyota exclusively. And then 52 would be leased to only seniors. So you really have 3 very different types of uses. Could it be thought of as a 60, 52, and 128?
Well, here, and I've looked at it from that angle, Scott. You basically have, when you're talking about multifamily, you have 3 to 10 unit developments. You have plus 10 to 99, and then you have 99 plus. And then you have the 1,500 feet distance requirement between each one. So even if you were to look at it as 3 and 160, 190, 120, I'm making numbers up there, you've got, then you're looking at a 1,500-foot distance requirement between each one, which I
Yeah.
doubt you're gonna get looking at the
So
site.
I was just trying to think of,
But that's a valid question.
because
Outside
it
the
is
box.
different, because the Toyota seems to be a totally different animal, as is the 55 and above.
Yeah.
So you're only really looking at, as far as a traditional apartment, 128 over 99.
Sure.
So you 30-ish, 29, 30. As far as what I would consider the apartment complexes that usually come before us.
Yeah.
But if the code doesn't allow for that interpretation, I guess that's my, I mean,
Sure. No, that's a great
should we look at
question.
it that way, or should we not look at it that way?
Well, if you did, you could look at it that way, but then you're gonna get into, even if it's over 99, you've gotta be 1,500 feet between each one, and you're not going to be 1,500 feet. So you could look at it from either angle, but you're gonna get to the same conclusion that you're gonna have to have a flexible variance. Now, if you were adamant about tabling it, you could table it and say, hey, bring us your site plan and let's review these jointly.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was thinking in the future, when someone wants to come with a 240 room regular apartment complex, and they'll point to Patel saying, "Oh, you'd like," well, no, it was different, and we could say he
Well, yeah.
had 3 individual.
So, and that's part of the flexible use, that's a great point. That's part of the flexible use process. You don't have to say yes. And if you say yes, it's because that specific scenario or that specific case, there was something unique about it.
Because that's the uniqueness to me. That's what I
No, I'm
see.
saying, like that's a.
What if
unique.
building, the Toyota building was classified as an extended stay hotel? Like my Candlewood, my Home 2 here? It's the same thing. It's got a kitchenette in there. It's got a studio. It's an extended stay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it to say, okay, to me, we're looking at, it says 99, he wants 128 for what I consider a normal apartment. These other 2 buildings are not your normal apartments. And if we said, we're gonna go over the 99 and can point back to,
This
these
is
are
why.
3 very different uses. This is not a 240 standard apartment complex.
You can't
For
build
instance.
99 feasibly anyway.
No, but
It's not
to
possible.
your point, Mr. Patel, if you brought us back a major site plan that had a extended stay hotel on it, well, that's certainly part of a mixed use development. Then you're getting into, hey, this is why this development is truly different than if you're building a 240
Yeah,
unit
said another
apartment.
way, if we granted the flexible use and then you come back with a master site plan and we turn it down, what value is that to you?
Right.
Right. So what if I call the Toyota building an extended stay hotel? Essentially, that's what it is. I mean, there's literally no difference in the buildings.
Absolutely. I would suggest that maybe talking details of how things can be worked out might be done better during a period of time where the city and the developer have an opportunity
I mean,
to
just
meet.
to help expedite, any more questions from the committee members that have not been asked yet?
I would just wanted to mention something about Scott's point, which I think conceptually we can look at it as unique in the sense that you've got 3 different types of things going on within the whole of the project, but the code does not allow us to treat it any differently based on the concept, I think.
Well,
Am I understanding that correctly?
one example that we have right now, and, is the Garfield project, which we have, looked at, and we pretty much said we're not gonna have dormitory style, we're not gonna have, you're gonna have mixed use on the first floor, and then you can have bigger units there. There was a mix of housing between, kinda like, a mix of housing between the standard, traditional apartments, but with mixed use on the first floor. You were gonna have other mixed uses in the area, kinda like a neighborhood with, you would have some medically related offices and things of that nature as you get, on the front, closer to the hospital. There would be duplexes or townhouses, however you wanted to call it. And then some single-family rental detached there. And so the trade-off there was, hey, look, there are different concepts here because there are different type of housing units. And also that there's a bonus to the city that in 15, 20-something years, we're not gonna have, it's not gonna be as shiny as it once was. I believe Bruce puts together great products, great residential products. But I was listening to Felder Russian talk about this English garden this old guy had. And this beautiful estate. Well, he died. And so.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm
I'm not planning on
even gonna
dying
be there
anytime
with you.
soon.
But, you know, just as soon as that happened, all the wilderness out there overgrew it. And that's not comparing Bruce's stuff with the 200 unit apartments we still got left, but it's a cyclical likelihood for some of these properties.
Is it for sale? Just asking.
No, no. But, and I'm not beating you up, I'm just saying that the difference in civilization and wilderness is a breath. So, whether it be an upturn in the economy, downturn, or something happening to the management group or to the ramrod in there, so we can continue to work.
We have a shortage of housing. I'm trying to buy a house here. My son's gonna move here. I can't find anything decent.
Any other
I-
questions for the applicant?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You guys can be seated. I'll go ahead and open the public portion of this since we have put that out. So if there's anybody here to speak for or against this project, if you would please come to the podium, state your name, address, and sign our sign-in sheet. We'll entertain any public comments.
Can I speak for it again?
No, I don't think that would work. All right, that closes our public portion for this applicant discussion. And now we'll have the committee go into comments that it wants on the records.
I think we've pretty much covered it.
All right, so need a motion for approval, denial, or tabling this particular application.
I have a question for Tanner up there, just to be clear. The missing pieces, I guess, on the city's side of thing is the discussion of the 290 versus, the 99 versus 240, the second way out, an updated site plan.
I mean, my thought would be bring us the site plan that you want approved, and then we can consider both of them jointly.
I would think that would be
We normally
fair.
do that.
Yeah, I would think that would be fair to the applicant, who's been a major provider of development for the city, is not look at them as two separate animals. It needs to be looked at it, to me, as one, and that's being fair to the applicant, that's being fair to this committee where we have the relevant information, and then to the city council, but that's just my opinion.
I think the best course is to table, because trying to make a decision without a site plan is very difficult, and has led us around the room here. So
So is that a form of a motion?
it is. I move that we table this until we can have a site plan and present them at the same time.
Do we need to identify specific
Yes.
Exactly.
items?
So-
Making the motion, I think.
We need to see the second means of egress, second entrance,
And the city extended stay hotel.
and how to, if he's gonna
How
split
to
up
address
this.
the separate building for the Toyota
Yeah,
employees.
if that's a way to take 60 rooms or more off.
To list it as an extended stay hotel. Or
Or how
Facility.
I think we need to, instead of telling, in my opinion, the developer how he has to present a mixed use, I think he needs to present a site, flexible use, a site plan, and his vision of what those buildings would be.
If you have not an assisted living, but the next thing to, a pre-assisted living building, the extended stay for the Toyota people, and then your traditional apartment complex.
It also needs to address the code requirements for length of buildings.
Correct.
So let them go through and do their thought process of how they're going to meet the code and still be able to do the development.
Yes, I mean, we want this. I mean,
Yeah.
we want you to be able to develop, but we also have a code that has changed, for better or for worse, that we need to follow. And, so that's just trying to give you more time to get all that together.
So can you put all of your things in a list?
We just did.
I-
Yeah, Kim, do you have this?
You know what we're
Does
trying to
clean
get
it
to
up?
there?
members have an understanding of the
Yeah.
motion? So I
Yes.
can get a second.
I'll give a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That is unanimous. So, Tanner, obviously, since this would be tabled, I think the applicant understands, but if you'd share with the applicant what the next steps would be.
Just get with us and we will, we'll get the ball rolling on a site plan.
Yeah, you guys will be busy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Our next item up for discussion is Flex Use 26-05, 1708 South Gloucester Street, parcel 106D-13-041-00. This is a request by Flexible Use to allow climate-controlled storage facility in approximately 12,000 square feet of a 55,000 total square foot building. Mr. Newman, have the property owners of the surrounding area been notified, and if so, any comments?
They have your, Mr. Chairman, and no, we've not received any comments.
All right, thank you. Will the applicant or representative please come to the podium, state your name, address, and present your request to the committee at this time? All
Is
right,
the client not here?
the applicant is not present. All right, well, no questions to the applicant by the committee, so I guess we will now open the public portion for hearing of this application. Is there anybody here to speak for or against? All right, that closes our public portion as well, so committee discussion is now at hand.
I have heartburn over approving anything if the applicant can't even show up.
The applicant's Tommy Morgan, is
Well,
that correct?
No,
No, I'm asking, is that, because I see two things here.
I
so-
look, I just will make one comment if the committee will allow. I understand your thoughts and your feelings on that topic, and I don't dispute that. But I think we do have to consider the application on its merit, what was submitted and the information that we have. So I would just remember that.
Other comments from committee members?
Well, parking's not an issue, and in and out's not an issue, and it's only on one side of the building, so.
I thought it was the whole thing that was walls.
No, it's
No,
only
it's
what?
just one section.
Just a few thousand, yeah.
So what's the rest of the building gonna be?
About a quarter, a little less than a quarter of the building. Empty.
Empty.
As this part is now. You're not gonna get a better use, we don't believe, for this building currently in the state it's in, that side of town. So again, we've had no objections to it. So I'll leave it at that. So you have the staff analysis and we've read our,
And so obviously, Tanner, the staff analysis is a recommendation of approval as
Yes.
presented.
yes.
Well, if that's the case, I'll just make a motion, we approve it.
All right, we have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Do we, one question, Tanner, I think that this building will have to be sprinkled because of the square footage, is that correct, Patrick?
Yeah, from my understanding, talking to the fire marshal, that building is currently sprinkled. Of course, they'll present building plans for the build out, and that will be.
Our approval won't have any effect on those requirements being met before they're able to
No.
make the change.
All this would say is that yes, you can proceed with this type of use at this location, but every other code requirement is still applicable.
What about landscaping, since the certificate of occupancy is changing on that?
It'll
So-
also have to be brought up to code.
Big,
It's way back
Mr.
on the
Reagan
road.
has looked into that already.
Yeah, this is just the first step.
Yeah, they will have to submit lead change of use, building plans.
so we
They'll
will,
go through their traditional, but this is the first step of it.
so we're not gonna let them off the hook on the landscaping and all that stuff? Especially since it can't show up.
There'll be no off the hook. There'll be no off the hook.
All right, we do have a motion currently on the floor. Do we have a second?
I will second, I do wanna, with this caveat, 90% of life is just showing up. I share Ms. Mart's concern that no representative of the applicant is here to move this forward. And but despite it, given the fact that we have a recommendation from the city, and it does appear like something that should happen, I'm not gonna let that keep me from either voting against or from abstaining.
Well said, and I agree with that,
But
that stance.
it'd be nice to let folks know they should show up
Or send somebody.
Yeah,
or send somebody.
send somebody.
We got some folks in the audience who've showed up tonight that are still waiting their turn, so.
Yes,
All right.
sir. That's all I have to say.
We do have a motion and a second currently on though. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand, please. All right, the motion passes. Obviously, Tanner, there's nothing to update today because there's nobody here to hear you, so we'll move on. Our next item up for discussion is Flex Variance 26-05, 603 Clayton Avenue, parcel 077H-25-240-00. This is a request by Flexible Variance to allow alcohol sales for a new business. Mr. Newman, have the surrounding property owners been notified, and if so, the responses, please?
Yes, sir, they have been notified. We've had a few, responses, mainly just questions about, curious, you know, what's going on, what's going into the building, and, really the only concern was about loud music after hours or late at night, and so the applicant's here, they can talk to that, but no negative feedback.
All right, thank you. Will the applicant representative please come to the podium? Remind you to state your name, address, and present your request to the committee, please.
A little bit. My name is Melanie McCarter. My home address is 399 Road 141 in Tupelo. And this is the place right across from Forklift. That's where our location will be for Ike's Deli Market. To address the questions that people had, we plan to close around 8 or 9, so we will not be open late. Ike's is a locally owned small business. I'll be there most every day while we get it up and going. The goal really is to serve the community by offering high quality food, and having drinks will just add to the place that we can have people walk in and get food while they're there. What were there other questions that they had?
That was really it, loud music at night.
Yeah, no, and if there is any sound ordinances or anything like that, we'll absolutely abide by those and any alcohol requirements as well.
Thank you. Before you sit down, any questions of the committee to the applicant, please?
So, yes, I am a Joyner resident, so welcome. We're looking forward to the development of that building. But with that said, there literally is a house on the other side of the fence. And so there's also a deck that we know of, between the building just to the north, to the property line. And so what is your intent with that deck and what's gonna happen out there?
We would love to have seats available outside for people to come, take your dog, if you wanna walk up, have your lunch outside if you'd like. Our food will be where you can dine in or you can take it to go. We'll have items where you can take it home and cook it yourself too. So we would love to use that space to have a place for people to gather outside as well.
Any idea, like time, what time would you close that off?
I would say, what do you think, 8, 9, 8, 9? We don't have our hours completely set in stone, but it's not a late night.
I'm Chris Delgrant, 399 Road 141. That deck is very thin, just has a little seating area on the very end. So we don't plan to use, like, we're not putting running seats down there, putting speakers out there, no TV, nothing like that. It's if you want to come up and grab a sandwich and you have your dog with you, like, people would prefer not your dog to be sitting in there with you, not that the dog lovers wouldn't mind, but if you could take the dog outside and sit on that little deck on the end and eat your sandwich and then go home. It's not a party area, it's not built for probably more than 6 people. And I've tried to knock on the house on the place next door there, and I got their Ring door camera, so I'm pretty sure they know who I am, because I've done it like 3 or 4 times. I think I'm creeping, but no plan for music, no plan for anything. We're gonna clean it up. It's like, it's leaves, mold, all that, we're gonna clean it up, and just for a place to sit, eat your sandwich with your puppy. That's the whole plan for that.
Okay. How many seats or tables will you guys plan on doing inside?
We have space for 4 tables that can seat 4 each, and might can expand to seat a little bit more, and a high top bar area that might seat around 6 as well.
Okay.
It'll be right at the front window looking at Fort Cliff, just a few seats there.
Fantastic.
And we're looking forward to joining the neighborhood. I've lived over there 3 times in my time here, and I love that neighborhood, I love that spot. So
Yeah.
we are really looking forward to it.
And we're looking forward to it as well, truthfully. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that, but.
Yeah, we've
You're
got
right.
our, we'll
Yeah,
have
it's
Hampton ice
legal.
cream and something for everybody in the family, so all, and we've had a lot of people talk about it, my kids just wanna walk over after school, and we just wanna have a place that people can come and hang out, and whatever your age, and whatever you want, you want ice cream, that's great, would you like to grab a beer, that's great, you wanna cook at home, great, eat with me, that's great too.
Perfect.
Any other questions about the committee? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody here from the public to speak for or against this application? All right. So that does close our public portion of this discussion. Now we're ready for committee discussion.
I got nothing. It sounds like a great idea.
All
And
right.
I'll just, I have heard from some of our neighbors within Joyner, and everybody's really excited to see this kind of bodega style thing happening. And it's great for the whole redevelopment down there in West Jackson, so it's a boon for our area.
Good, good to hear.
It's your bailiwick.
All right, do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? All right, we have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, Tanner, will you please advise the applicant on the next steps?
Again, anyone objecting to this approval has 3 days to file that appeal with the city, or excuse me, with Development Services. Otherwise, proceed on with pursuing your CO. Okay.
All right, thank you. This brings us to our last item on the agenda today is RZ 26-03 parcel 106S-14-036-12 off of South Thomas Street. This is a request to rezone 5.03 acres from low-density residential to mixed-use commercial corridor and 20 acres from low-density residential to mixed-use residential for future development. Mr. Newman, were the surrounding property owners notified, and if so, the responses?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there were quite a number of notifications that went out on this one. And again, on this particular one, it's just curiosity, what's the applicant, intending to do with the property? I'm gonna ask the question, is the applicant here tonight? I have to say that this is a little bit different. This is not the change of use. This is a property rezoning from, low-density residential to commercial use. I'm not comfortable recommending action on this if the applicant's not here, because this is a much more substantial change than changing the use of an existing commercial building to another commercial use.
Did the applicant advise why they did not come tonight?
I've had no communication with him today.
All right, well, that closes that session. Is there anybody from the public here to speak for or against? If so, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and your comments, and please try to limit to 5 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Henry Rupert Jr. My parents live near the area. They're at 3027 Cason Road. I can't really say I'm for or against it. We just don't know. So I just was trying to get some information as to what are they actually building. That's all.
We don't know that either, so.
We don't know that either because.
That's a great question, sir.
Okay, wonderful.
There's not been a request for what this would potentially be.
Okay, all right. Well, since the gentleman's not here, so, all right.
Do you live in Southern Heights? I'm sorry. Do you live in that area?
My parents live there.
Your parents live there, okay.
Yes. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, sir, you said 3007 Kaysen?
3027.
3027, thank you, I'm
Kaysen
sorry. I
Road.
didn't
Yes,
hear you
sir.
well.
Yes, sir.
I'll make sure you notice if we hear anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else
Thank
from
you,
the
Mr.
public
Rupert.
here for or against? Reminder, please state your name and address and sign our sign-in sheet, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am Juan Antonio Acosta. I live on 3071 South Thomas, beside to the property they are building or something. And only I need to know because I got horses, I got cows, I got 32 acres on my land, and asking, or I don't know what kind of building is that, or I don't know if they affect to my property or
It's like you said, we don't know yet.
All right.
they don't know yet.
We don't know yet. We do have a neighborhood association in that area, and I can keep everybody up to date as soon as I know something.
Okay.
And you're on 3071 South Thomas, Mr. Acosta?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So is
And-
this,
Go ahead, you go ahead, Ms. Mark. No, that's fine.
no, I was just trying to, when you said his address, so are you this piece of property right next to it?
Yeah, I live there.
Okay.
We are agreed.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate your coming to the meeting and your concern.
All right,
And
that,
We'll keep these individuals posted.
I will.
Can I say
Thank you, Ms.
a couple of
Thomas.
words, Mr. Chairman?
sure.
So, based on the department analysis, the staff analysis and all, generally speaking on this piece of property, based on the comprehensive plan, upcoming comprehensive plan, generally speaking, this property would be subject, it would be something we would consider for a rezoning to commercial property. But we need to hear from the developer, from the applicant on what their use is for this property. Otherwise, it would be a premature rezoning, and that's the position of the department.
Understood. So as I understand it, Development Services' take is, because this is a rezoning, the applicant needs to be here in order to state what their intentions are, so the questions can be answered, so we can make our decision.
Yes, sir.
There was a contingent approval, I think, by planning. You are uncomfortable making that recommendation in the absence of the applicant.
That sums it up very well.
So we should not just arbitrarily deny this since they didn't have the wherewithal to show up.
Yeah, I couldn't recommend denying it just because it does meet our from a staff analysis standpoint, we would recommend approval if the applicant were here and could adequately answer our questions. So I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending denying it because we've already recommended an approval, but we need the applicant to show up and answer some questions before I can stand by that approval.
Would a denial result in a requirement that they renotice this and all of that as well?
And
Well,
I
what
think
if you
it would
deny
be-
it, wouldn't they have to go a year
That's
without representing?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'd say we table it, and if they don't show up next time, then we can think about.
All right, so we have a motion to table, do we have a
Yes.
second?
I'll second.
All right, there's a second by Ventura, all signify by raising your right hand. All right, motion carries. I'd like to thank everyone for your cooperation tonight. Certainly closes our book of business. Mr. Newman or Mr. Faulkner, do we have any applications for our next meeting?
We do. We're gonna have several. Pat, I think we'll also be ready to submit the comprehensive plan by that point. If you look at your calendar,
Yeah, if you look at our calendar, we're butting up against Labor Day, and the city council's already has a meeting. And so for us to have stayed on our normal schedule, we would be in between a work session and a city council session. So a request has been made for us to consider having a work session for August 24th with the public session to occur on August 31. August 24th for the work session and a public session for August 31st. Because the city council, with Labor Day being that Monday, city council's meeting on that Tuesday.
They could then follow up after Labor Day with anything we do on the 31st.
Yeah, so I'll be out of town on the 24th, potentially can call in, but it's a work session. So I have no issue with that.
All right, hearing no other.
All right.
All right, so that we'll have the work session on the 24th and the public on the 31st. That concludes our business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we
And a second.
adjourn.
All in favor?
Yay.
We're officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank y'all.
Good job, everybody.
Heck of a job, Chair.
Yeah, you did, good job.